All right, so I decided to do my Alabama versus Mississippi State preview and prediction in the same video today. Won't have a lot of time this weekend, so I just want to go ahead and get it out of the way. So first of all, coming into this week, coming off this Alabama versus LSU game, Mississippi State's coming off their big game against Texas A&M, probably one of the best games they played all season. They are 4-5, while Alabama, of course, is still undefeated at 9-0. And this will be a SEC West divisional matchup. So, and one of Alabama's SEC West division rivals. Division rivals can give you trouble. Uh, we'll see how it plays out. But I'm going to talk a little bit first about what Alabama's been doing this week. So, if you haven't noticed or if you haven't heard, Reuben Foster has been seen at practice with a big cast or like roundish uh, club on his arm. They say he broke a finger or something like that, and it's healing up. They just want to make sure it doesn't get damaged. So he may be wearing a light club during the game this Saturday. So that's something to look out for to see how well he tackles, how well he can grab onto guys. But that should be fine. Tony Brown and Minka Fitzpatrick did great jobs in their roles last week, so they're going to be in the same spot. Is Alabama's looking A-OK on defense. Uh, Defense as a whole got player of the week last week, so that's impressive. Now, offense, Alabama, Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, they got together, and Saban himself said he sat down with Jalen, sat in the office, they reviewed some film, and they watched over some things, and he said the whole purpose was to make sure that that Jalen's going to develop, that he's going to progress, and so they took the steps to say, ask Jalen, like, hey, what should have you done right here? What is the proper read here? What did you do? Where did you make a mistake? They're trying to help coach him through that process, helping him get up to speed faster so that the passing game can execute a lot better. Because as we know, that is probably the weak link of the Alabama team, the passing down the field. We'll see how much Jalen can improve in season. Usually a lot of improvement in passing game comes in the offseason, so we'll see. So they sat down with him and talked to him about it. Jalen, of course, can run really well. When he's on, he hits down the field when he can throw it accurately and with good timing. So this game is going to be won't necessarily be a test of that, but expect to see Alabama try to take some shots to see kind of how Jalen's progressing. Because a big game here, as one of you guys commented in the video, could spring forward Jalen to having good games for the rest of the season, at least passing wise. So getting into that matchup here, we got Bo Scarborough, who tweaked the knee this past week. He should be fine this week. It was nothing serious. He's been dealing with injuries his whole career, so to see him out is kind of concerning, but he should be okay. That's what they say. Joshua Jacobs still going pretty well. Ever since he hurt his arm in the Arkansas game a while ago, he's still been playing, but he hasn't been playing as much. But he's still healing up. Damian Harris still healing up from that ankle injury. So the running back position is a little, they're a little banged up, but they should be ready to go. The receivers, they're trying to get, when Nick Saban talked with Jalen Hurts, he said, we're going to try to get 13, 3, and 88 the ball, which is O.J. Howard, Adarius Stewart, Calvin Ridley. Because those are the playmakers on the outside, and we need to get them the ball, not only in the short passing game, but down the field. And so expect to see they're going to advise Jalen to target those guys specifically, not only in short passes, but down the field. Now, let's get to Mississippi State, because we all know about Alabama. But when it comes to Mississippi State, they have Nick Fitzgerald at quarterback, 6'5", 230 pounds. Now he's your typical Dan Mullen, Mississippi State, Florida Gators, his whole lineage of his career. The typical big-bodied quarterback who can run. Nick Fitzgerald has some moves. He had a really long run against Texas A&M. I think it was 74 yards on their first play from scrimmage, making that Texas A&M run defense look as bad as the rankings suggest that it is, and as bad as Alabama made it look. And so he can run. Dan Mullen, of course, likes to get his big body mobile quarterback to hit some receivers in the open field, short to intermediate passes, sometimes down the field. And he, from what I noticed, he can hit the guys usually, but he has some of those same issues that some of the other quarterbacks like Dak Prescott and not Dan Marino, and Tim Tebow had at times was even though they're guys, the reason why their stat completion can look good and they seem to put up pretty nice numbers. They're spreading guys out, getting one-on-one matchups, so you don't have to be the most accurate guy in the world to make those passes. You just have to be accurate enough, and so it shows sometimes on their second drive of the game, he threw an interception, mainly because Mississippi State had, and I'm talking about the Texas A&M game, they had 5 guys wide, and the receiver to the farthest right on his outside ran a slant route. Nick Fitzgerald threw the ball, and he threw it a little bit too high, even though his guy uh, didn't really need that ball high because the defender was behind him and just kind of a few yards off, and so he could have hit him in stride and had him going. Now, I will say maybe the safety undercutting the ball influenced the throw a little bit, but it still should have been a more accurate throw, and that led to the ball sailing on the receiver, the defensive back being able to get a hand on it, tipping up to himself and catching an interception. And so I say that to say Nick Fitzgerald has been a playmaker, may not necessarily be the most accurate. I also saw him throw the ball down the field a couple of times, and kind of threw it way far. And so it'll be interesting to see his accuracy against the Alabama pass rush defense. So you got Nick Fitzgerald there. Like I said, he's a playmaker who can run 6'5", 230 pounds, big guy, who may or may not have accuracy issues. Their running game, they don't run it a lot as usual with their running backs. They usually try to use their quarterback and maybe every once in a while keep the defense on it with his running back. So nothing big there. What I saw from their offensive line, they do a serviceable job, but it's not that great. They got pushed around a little bit by the Texas A&M defensive linemen, just a little bit. They actually I would say they did like I said, decent, serviceable job of holding out Texas A&M at times. But there were definitely a lot of times where I saw them being pushed back and their guards kind of being pressured a little bit by the defensive linemen. So the offensive line is serviceable, but it's not great. And their receivers, they have talented guys at the receiver position as usual. That's one of the staples of the Dan Mullen offense. You need some receivers who can win one-on-one matchups in space, like Fred Ross and I can't remember his name right now, but Donovan Ross, I believe, number 6. So they have some pretty talented guys. Now on their defense, their cornerbacks. Oh, this is probably the worst part of Mississippi State team. Their defense is absolutely horrible. Their cornerbacks and safeties, they get defeated weekly. Samford's quarterback, I can't remember his name, South Alabama's quarterback, Texas A&M's backup quarterback, Jake Hubenock, they all torch this Mississippi State defense. This Mississippi State defense is 104th nationally in passing yards allowed per game at 260 something, and it shows. They can't cover well. They really can't. The receivers are running open. And all your quarterback needs to do is have the time, and they can hit these guys running open in the Mississippi State secondary. It's evidence, not saying that South Alabama and Samford are, like I always say, you never underestimate any opponent, but that is a lesser level of competition, especially with it's either Samford or South Alabama's quarterback. One of them is averaging like 195 yards per game against everybody else. But against Mississippi State, he threw for like almost 400 yards. And that just really shows how bad that Mississippi State quarterback is. Not quarterback, that Mississippi State secondary is. And so they're giving up a lot of yards passing, and they're not doing a great job of defending the pass. They also are not doing a great job of defending the run. They're much better than they are at the pass. They're 47th nationally in the run, but they're giving up 150 yards per game rushing, about 4 yards per carry. Even Texas A&M was able to get some runs on Kentucky about 3 or 4 weeks ago, was able to pull off some nice runs on them. Their defensive line, only guy that really making a difference there is Jeffrey Simmons, who's a freshman playing defensive end. He's pushing the upperclassmen for playing time. He's the only one really that makes somewhat of an impact. The other guys, they get pushed around a little bit. You see them being moved back. Every once in a while, they'll shake something up every once in a while. They'll get a little bit of pressure here and there, but for the most part, they're not winning the line of scrimmage consistently. Their only notable linebackers, Richie Brown, number 39, tough guy. He reminds me of the Arkansas linebacker, Brooks Ellis. and he's always around the ball. But like I said, other than Richie Brown and Jeffrey Simmons, they don't have a lot of playmakers on defense, and it shows as they are consistently being beaten. So their defense is their weak link. And what Alabama's going to seek to do is run the ball. And off those runs, up the middle, around the zone read on the left tackle, off right tackle, they're going to throw the ball to the sideline, they're going to throw the ball down the field, and that is going to stress this Mississippi State defense. So that is the matchup. I previewed the teams. We got, and of course, you got Dan Mullen's experience. And like I said, this is the SC West divisional rival, so that all of that comes into play. Now, who do I think is going to win this game? Well, I got to give it to Alabama, mainly because of what I just spent a lot of time describing Mississippi State's defense. So, when you consider that they are not really good at stopping the run or the pass, that's going to give Alabama a lot of room to be balanced on offense in this game. So they won't have to run the ball the majority of the snaps like they did against LSU. Alabama will be able to mix and match some play calls and have various degrees of success. This is what I'm predicting. I'm predicting that Alabama will run the ball extremely well, and they'll use those opportunities that will be presented by the Mississippi team trying to focus on a run to be able to take some shots down the field and develop Jalen Hurts in the passing game, maybe in the intermediate routes and in the deep routes. And he's bound to hit something. Even if he doesn't have a big game, he's bound to hit a couple of those at least. And that should probably break the game open. I don't think Mississippi State keeps this game close. I don't think they'll have much success on offense either. Mainly because, like I was saying before, your quarterback needs to be efficient and really accurate and not afraid and be able to hit those throws and make those throws. Nick Fitzgerald hasn't proven that to me. And so with the Alabama pass rush coming at him too, along with how talented this Alabama secondary is, Nick Fitzgerald's going to be in trouble. Now, he's probably very tough, being a guy that big, but he's going to take some hits. Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams, they're all going to be in his face. Ron Payne, the guards were having a little trouble against Texas A&M. And if they had trouble against the Texas A&M defense front, they're going to have trouble against Darren Payne and Dalvin Tomlinson. So I don't see Nick Fitzgerald having a lot of success. As a matter of fact, with all that pressure in his face, he's going to turn the ball over maybe 2 or 3 times in this game, I believe. And that means they won't score. But I say Mississippi State does not score a touchdown in this game. And I'm going to give Alabama, depending on, how much can Jalen Hurts execute down the field. I mean, the running game might just take over and we might score a lot of points anyway. But I'm going to say this game is 41-3 Alabama. Mainly because Mississippi State can't stop Alabama, and Alabama's going to have a chance to be very balanced with all the playmakers they have on offense. And also Mississippi State not being able to score on offense. I don't think they will be able to have consistent success at all. They have to rely on Nick Fitzgerald, and that's going to get them in a lot of trouble. They'll turn the ball over, and Alabama will probably score off of those turnovers, whether it be fumble recovery or interception returns for a touchdown. So, yeah, that's my prediction. It'll be fun to see how it turns out tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if there's something in the matchup that I didn't talk about here that you would like to see happening in the game. Thanks.